What's going on, everybody? This is Jim from Straight Blast Pythons. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be covering our multi-recessive projects going into the 2023 breeding season. Right off the bat, if you've watched our videos in the past, you can see we've done some rearranging here in our snake room. Got the ARS rack behind us now. We're also setting up a couple of Reptizoo enclosures behind me for my wife's garter snake colonies. Our incubator and hatchling racks got moved slightly off screen that way. But today our topic is going to be multi-recessive projects, what we're doing here, and really why they're important here in the ball python industry. Anyone who's been in the industry for at least 5 minutes knows that multi-recessives is the way of the future. There's no arguing that we're currently in the beginning of the double recessive phase. Double recessives are everywhere, and those leading the industry are already making triple recessives easily 10 years ahead of everybody else. If you've watched our last two videos, you know here at Straight Blast Python, our two main focuses are the genetic stripe and the clown projects. So moving forward, we're obviously going to go into the Kiki Ball project, or the genetic stripe clown, whichever you want to call it. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the name Kiki Ball, but it is what it is. So this year we are going to dedicate a couple of pairings to making our first double recessives, so that hopefully 2 or 3 years down the line, we can actually start pairing, trying to make our visual. So we're going to have two pairings this year dedicated to that. Our first one is actually a potential triple recessive pairing. So our boy Striker, who I've shown in our genetic stripe video, is a pastel yellow-bellied genetic stripe, but he's also 50% het for VPI exanthic. He was the brightest of his clutch, and to this day he holds his color very well, so I'm pretty hopeful that he's going to wind up actually proving out for that het VPI. Pairing him, we have our girl Talia, who we picked up from Nice Balls back in late 2019, early 2020, but she's a blade, 100% double het clown VPI exanthic. So we're going to make this pairing, obviously hoping to prove out that exanthic. Best case scenario, we wind up with a visual exanthic het for genetic stripe, who we can use the genetic testing that recently came out to prove whether they're het clown or not. So ideally, we're starting a VPI exanthic genetic stripe clown project with this pairing. If that exanthic doesn't prove out, we're still getting het genetic stripes that we can test to prove for that het clown, and we're still moving into the genetic stripe clown project. Obviously, for genetic stripe clown, we're looking to get the pastel and the yellow belly in there. I'm really not too concerned about getting blade into that project, although if it happens, it happens. And if we do wind up getting the VPI exanthic involved in there, obviously pastel and yellow belly both improve the exanthic. So all in all, I think it's a pretty good pairing. Shows a lot of promise, but no guarantees. Our second pairing for the G-Stripe Clown project, we have our boy Jester, who's our lesser clown. He was pretty much our stud for our 2022 breeding season because we were making a big push to actually make visual and het clowns. However, this year he's really not doing a whole lot. We are going to pair him this year with our girl Charlotte, who's a spider visual genetic stripe. Right off the bat, I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of spider, and to be honest, it's kind of questionable of how spider would react into the genetic stripe clown project to begin with. But I'm kind of curious. So I'm not really shooting to try to get spider in here, but this is going to give us guaranteed double het clown genetic stripes since both parents are visuals. I do like the lesser in the G-Stripe Clown project, so if we could ideally get a female that's got lesser in there. If we got one with spider, I very well might keep it back, but no guarantees on that. Kind of see how I feel. On the topic of spider in general, we do have it in our collection. I've made the conscious decision to keep it only in our females. That way we can control the number we produce and avoid any potential slip-up pairings in the future, not expecting that that would ever happen. I'm pretty on top of stuff like that, but it eliminates the possibility of possible spider-spider pairings in the future. I know there has been some talk from other breeders not liking the bell complex in the genetic stripe clown project because of the way that it spreads out. The towers or the hourglasses or the chevrons. I've heard them called all different things. But personally, so far, every genetic stripe clown that I've seen lesser in, I've liked. So breed what you like, right? If you've watched the last two videos, you know that I've been saying we're doing 9 pairings, and that 7 of those have been dedicated to the genetic stripe clown project. Well, that's just not true anymore. A few things have changed. I had a breeder Candino female that I was going to pair to Helios, who's our genetic stripe banana cinnamon. That's not how you say that. Banana cinnamon genetic stripe. The idea was to kind of start working the Candino genetic stripe project, and I was kind of on the fence because, to be honest, I think the straight albino genetic stripe and candy or Candino genetic stripe is garbage. I'm sorry, I really don't like the way they look. But I was curious to see, like, since he's banana cinnamon, maybe if we were to add cinnamon to the mix or a couple other darkening genes, how that would actually wind up affecting it if we could actually get some of that pattern back, or at least the contrast back into the animal. Being on the fence about it, I wasn't sure if I wanted to make the pairing, given the current state of the industry and stuff not moving as fast. I'd really just be making a bunch of bananas and banana cinnamons, which aren't the worst things to make, but I already have a pairing that's going to produce a lot of those, so I didn't want to go too heavy into that combo. We wound up having an opportunity to make a trade, and we wound up trading Nova to get into the Sunset project through a couple of hets. We wound up picking up a female and male het Sunset. The female's a Super Enchi and the male's a Spot Nose. So just thinking about the future of our plans, the future breeding, the future of straight blast pythons in general, kind of felt that making that trade for the het Sunset sets us up with a little bit more option in the future than starting a project that I really honestly didn't know if I wanted to get into. So change of plans, we're doing 8 pairings, not 9. 6 of those 8 pairings are still genetic stripe. The 2 Krypton pairings mentioned in the last video are staying. Maybe we'll revisit the idea of the Candino or albino genetic stripe stuff in the future, but as of right now, that's being put on hold. Next couple weeks, I'm going to do some videos doing a 2022 wrap-up, kind of overviewing our season, some lessons learned as a first-year breeder, and move on from there. Again, thank you for joining us. If you like the content, or if you want to see more, or you just want to follow along with what we're doing, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. Other than that, that's about all I got, so I'll see you next time.